Okay, I'm going to perform for you a little morsel, if you will, of a song called Funk Force 5 off my Unrepentant record. Very Jimmy-esque. It starts off in the key of E, and you know, I do some Jimmy rhythm things and kind of the way that he would approach funk in these little isms. And then I get into a little bit of how he plays rhythm, like more in the Curtis Mayfield chordal aspect of things. And then there's a little more so where I'll do a little soloing, kind of my way, but with Jimmy in mind. Can you dig it? Let's check it.
I've created a instrumental version of a song of mine called Red Dragon for you. It's a song that I've only played live a couple of times. We did it on the record in 2014, my Far As I Can See album. It was a late night studio jam with like, let's do something like the Jimmy Voodoo Child kind of thing. Tune the guitar down to E flat and with the Hammond organ, Johnny Henderson playing it, very much inspired by what Steve Winwood did on he's playing the organ on the original Voodoo Child. So we really wanted to pay tribute to what we love about that. And I say I've only played it live a couple of times because it was a moment in time, and when I've tried it live, it seems like copying ourselves, you know? So this is a little adventure to play again for you now, but it seems to be the right thing to include in this course on my heroes, and I figured some of you would enjoy having a Red Dragon track to play over, including Johnny Henderson and his Winwood-esque organ. So let's go for E flat, but we're playing as though we're playing in E, and we're gonna get that vibey Jimmy thing. I got like a little, turn my delay time up a bit just for that kind of slightly psychedelic touch, which is fun, gets you into the vibe. Here we go.
right, so I've got a backing track here. It's in the key of A. It's kind of a blues. It does 1-4-5 changes, but it's, kind of Hendrix-esque, kind of 60s. It's not a shuffle or just it's a little more kind of a straight slow blues. And I'm gonna play exactly what I would play when I play over this kind of feel, the way I play. But there's certainly going to be, because of the way the track is, and it has this, what I think Hendrix-esque thing, you're going to hear some of the things I've told you about, some of the licks that's incorporated in my style of playing.
So for this Band of Gypsies style track, I've got the Revival Drive on. I got my Analog Man Sunface on. It's pretty gnarly. Jimmy used to tune down a half step or a whole step or somewhere in between. I heard that he used to tune to the amp hum, actually, which cycles lower than A440. And that's a whole nother subject with tuning. But what I did today is just without taking my guitar out of standard, which it's set up for, I've dropped my low E down to a D, And the lick on this jam track is like, kind of in the style of, it's actually kind of a cross between it's really like Machine Gun, but maybe a little bit of who knows. So we're working off of the D pentatonic. And for those of you guys wondering how to work with a fuzz, first of all, make sure the fuzz is the first effect in your chain after the tuner, or just make sure it's first. Then the next thing is, when you're playing with a fuzz, you really want to be on the bridge pickup pretty much all the time. And also, it's with these traditional fuzzes, and this is kind of a hybrid, what the Analog Man does, but if it's a germanium chip or whatever it is, that's a whole nother rabbit hole for another day. But you really want to get your volume full up and be on the bridge to get the maximum impact out of it. And you can hear, if I just play without the fuzz on, so it's pretty bright, right? But if you put the fuzz on and leave bridge pickup and leave the volume all the way up, and it really puts some meaty low end on it. But the key is to use like a bridge pickup or the bridge neck setting if you have a guitar like this. Often with Hendrix, I feel like I hear him playing very often on the neck pickup or the bridge. I'm not sure how much he was using the middle positions. I'm sure he was, but he was a wizard. So it's hard to figure out exactly what he was doing. But we're just going to keep this on one chord. It's just that D riff just cycling. Just like on the Band of Gypsies record, it's like very modal, just one chord over and over again and developing ideas over it. And I'm going to play some signature Hendrix licks from that era, and I'm also then going to try to mix in some of my own things, and then we'll wrap it up.
that's all for this session. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here today, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell for more lessons in the future. Make sure you check out the other lessons on our channel, and don't forget to head over to TrueFire.com for the full experience. We have synchronized tabs, jam tracks, and a massive library of courses covering all topics a guitarist could ever want to learn. Until next time.